What's up, co-counsels? I'm exhausted, but I'm on time. I'm exhausted though. All right, let's get back into Lori. I watched a little bit. I watched a bit of the cross-examination, at least as far as the first witness is concerned. I watched a bit of that at work, and I thought they were taking a 15-minute break. They never came back. Like they just disappeared. All right, let's get into cross. We really need to go back to yesterday's testimony, more so the detective. Um, uh, we we need to focus on direct. We need to focus on direct to figure out exactly what the substance of the testimony is. But so far, at least today's cross examination for this one witness, Lori had a few glimmers of hope. But again, the cross examination and more so the reader, I just finished eating. So the cross examination and more so the redirect led me to it confirmed what I've been saying over and over again. This would have been a decent defense case, but let's get into it. You guys know I can talk a donkey's ears off. Okay, let's get into it. This was long. I think this individual was on the stand when I got home. I did not watch.
Go ahead and resume your cross.
Okay. Is that Lori? I guess those are the the receipts. Burger King and fries and this and that.
Detective Inklin, yesterday we were talking about the chain of custody of the phone, so I have a couple questions on that.
Okay.
Yesterday we talked about that Charles' phone went from your hands to the property
That
room.
girl sounds so official. Lori, it might be her voice, it might be her cadence. She sounds formal. What's up, Benji? How's your day? Okay, so what's up, Allie? So Benji watched earlier, and Benji cannot wait for my lawyer insights. What's up, Allie? And junior co-counsel. So, full disclaimer: the only thing that I watched today was the cross and redirect of this witness. I did not get a chance to get into anything else because I thought the judge said they were taking a 15-minute break. These people disappeared. Like they disappeared, and I have no idea. I just do not know when they returned, when they reconvened. But Benji, if you have, this is what we're going to be doing. What's up, Fever? How you doing? This is what we're going to be doing. If you have specific timestamps or specific questions, then lead me to that timestamp, because it's gonna take me a lot of time to actually get through all the testimony. But we're gonna have to make an exception for what's her name? Massachusetts. What's her name? Karen Reed. Karen Reed. Okay. All right. Fever saying hi. Fever, Benji's in here too.
Room, is that
Get into it.
correct?
No,
Okay.
Wait,
Charles'
what?
phone went from your hands to the property room, is that correct?
no.
Okay. Where did it,
When I explained to you, it's our computer crimes division, the
Okay.
detectives that do the downloads. Our property room is about a mile away from the police department.
okay. So it went from your hands to the computer crimes division, is that correct?
Correct. We usually take phones directly to them.
And how long was that between the time you left the house and you delivered that phone to them?
It's about 20-minute drive or so, and then just to the PD and upstairs to where their office is.
Okay. And who did you turn that over to at the computer crimes division?
Sergeant Olness was the sergeant of the unit at the time.
And did you use the passcode to access the phone at all?
I did not. I don't do downloads or exams of devices.
Okay.
Okay. Did you look to see if the threatening text messages from Charles did actually exist?
I did not do an exam of the phone.
That's a good question.
Yesterday, we watched the clip of my interview with
Here's
you.
the problem so far. I mean, we did not get into the defense case yet. This is still prosecution. But my biggest issue with the manner that Lori cross examines is the fact that she asks questions that I'm not exactly sure if she would be able to back up during direct. I hope Lori's not planning on taking the stand. Is she gonna? That is gonna be so. I hope Lori doesn't take the stand. In any event, for example, this whole text message question, right? That question would only be effective if there was any information that this individual or this witness actually reviewed the phone. But if the witness testified that they did not review the phone, they don't know the contents of Charles' phone, then it's kind of a waste of time because she's asking questions in a way that makes the listener anticipate for a specific answer. And when that answer, once that answer hits our ears, it's an anticlimax basically. Yeah. I don't know, she needs to do a little better. But so far
And
though, what I watched today as far as this witness, she was a little shaky, but Lori did have some pretty good moments.
we discussed the threatening text messages, is that correct?
Correct, you told me about them.
And you stated that I did not show them to you, is that correct?
You did not show them to me, no.
Okay.
And did you ask me to show them to you?
I did
Okay,
not.
sounds good, Benji. I mean, if there's a specific witness that you want me to jump to, we can do that. Because I actually did watch. I watched this, but I thought she had good moments that I wanted to highlight. Okay. Dang, not Allie living her best life. Give me some of that. Give me some of that. Yeah, I replied to you. I replied to you, Fiva. I don't usually reply. Listen, I have. I'm not usually very quick. I'm not very responsive in getting back to emails. I mean, Benji would know that. Allie has like a chat that I've not replied to, and I don't know how long. The people in the comments, I'm sorry, folks. I know Callie has been writing comments. I'm gonna do better. I need to do better.
Had
Who's
I been
emailing
cooperative
me?
all that day?
Yes,
You did what?
Had I been cooperative all that day?
yes.
Okay.
Do you think I would have shown them to you if you would have asked me?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Was Tylee also cooperative that day?
I believe so.
Was Alex cooperative that day
I don't know. I did not have contact with Alex.
at all?
I did not interview him or talk to him, no.
Did I, in fact, inform you during that interview that I would have to show you them to explain them?
I believe so.
But you never asked me to show them to you?
I did not.
Did you ever request that I turn my phone over to you?
I did not.
Did you ever request that Tylee turned her phone over to you?
I did not.
And here's the thing that's actually really disturbing. What's disturbing about Lori's cross-examination is her ability to cross-examine folks while talking about her kids as if she was not convicted for ending their lives. That's disturbing to me, right? Because obviously the jurors, they will not, unless Lori decides to get on the stand and open doors she's not supposed to open. But ordinarily under these circumstances, the jury will not know about her conviction in Idaho. But it's really disturbing to me because she refers to these children as if they're still here when she knows why they're not here. But I mean, she's appealing though. She's appealing, but she was convicted. That's just disturbing. Like every once in a while, I think about that, and it's kind of odd.
In the course of your investigation, did you ever, in fact, see those threatening messages from Charles to me?
I did not. I did not look at any of the downloads of any of the phones.
Or in the reports or anything?
No,
You never came across those?
I did not review those reports or do any of the downloads of any of the phones.
You didn't review any of Detective Duncan's reports?
No,
None of Detective Moffat's reports?
no,
Okay. Were you aware of the reason why I had two phones at the time?
I was not.
Did you ask me?
Oh,
No, I wasn't aware you had
why
two
don't you
phones.
hear that information?
In the course of your investigation, did you ever learn that Charles had stolen my phone, so I had to replace it?
Object to testifying.
The prosecutor, something else.
Did you ever learn that Charles had stolen my phone, so I had to replace it?
Object to
That's-
testifying and move.
That's
to
a
strike.
forceful objection, okay?
Sustained.
Your Honor, it's all part of the investigation.
An object-
And Lori, this is exactly why you need an attorney, because it's argumentative from, in terms of you questioning her, but an attorney would have been able to probably phrase it Lori, just don't, I don't know. Is it too late? Is it too late for her to, ask for a real lawyer?
Sustained its testimony. The form of the question was testimony.
Were you aware that after he gave it back to me that I kept both phones?
I'm going to again object.
Sustained.
Detective, in the course of your investigation, did you learn that Charles had a $2 million life insurance policy on me?
Mm.
I knew there was a life insurance policy. I don't know the amount.
Did you ever see it in any of the reports or?
I did not review and I was not part of that portion of the investigation.
And you never saw that on any kind of Bates numbers?
I'm going to object again to asked and answered.
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You didn't see it on any kind of Bates numbers?
No, Bates would be what the county attorney does. That's after me, so I didn't review that portion of the report.
Okay. Dang, I'm missing out on the chat. I think that's funny. A questioning. Okay, so Ellie says that her questioning of the second witness is something else, and she gets shut down by the judge with her questions. So we'll give it another 10 minutes or so, because I actually did watch this, right? So we'll give it another 10 minutes, and then we'll move over to cross-examination of the second witness for the day. Lori, I'm sorry. Viva said that Lori is trying to defend herself to the best of her ability. She could have done this better by actually having real representation. But I mean, she's trying though. Apparently, she had 5 years to study, so she's trying. Let's see. Ellie says, I think with a line of questioning, with some of her questions, it's almost like she is reliving what she did, just some of the questions she asked some of the witnesses. Again, Lori, I don't know how many trials she has actual experience with. I don't know if I wonder if they were having like mock trials in prison, right? Like, I don't know, like her prepping her and her bunkies pretty much prepping for this trial. So she did not, again, 5 years. 5 years is decent time to work on a case, but her biggest problem is that she does not appear to have had an opportunity um, to actually test out her cross examination skills. Um, that said, though, she is asking, this was brought up. I brought up this point in another case, a case that we watched together. Let me think. I don't remember which case it was, but it was in relation to an attorney. Here's the one thing that I absolutely, you guys will hear this over and over again. It may have been Karen Reed while we're rewatching it. In any event, the one thing I absolutely cannot stand is I do not agree with attorneys playing the role of investigator. What I mean by that is this. Listen, so absolutely attorneys do investigate. I've investigated my own cases before, okay, during my time as a public defender. But the biggest problem with that is in the event the case goes to trial, then the attorney will pretty much take on the role of Lori right now, whereas the attorney is arguing with the witness on the stand and they don't have a lot of control over the witness on the stand. And that's because they are privy to some of the outside court conversations. And that's what we're seeing with Lori right now, or seeing with Lori right now. Instead of just strictly cross-examining the witness, she's engaging in arguments about what she told them, what she didn't tell them, what they saw, what they didn't see, as opposed to just asking questions. So that's why, Ali, and this is in response to your remark. So that's why it appears as if she's reliving those moments, right? Because she doesn't have real representation. Okay. The FIFA said, why would I ask you, do you have two phones? Let's see. All right. I think you guys are talking to each other here. Dang, are you doing laundry on a Tuesday? I've started doing laundry on Thursday evenings. Maybe I'll do it. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, let me play this while I read the rest of the commentary. Is this when she was stuck? Oh, Brooklyn. What's up, Brooklyn? No, we did not get to that part, but I actually watched it in live. I watched it live and I was like, what on earth? So we have the chicken fries or whatever she got from Burger King. And then we have her enchiladas. Were they green tomato enchiladas? I don't know. But she's bogged down on the wrong details. See, let's see.
Yesterday, during your direct, you said that, or during
Okay, so
our
let's see, Ali. So Ali says that her representing herself here, I mean, she has nothing to lose. She has already been sentenced to life. So what does she have to lose? Also, after this trial, she has another one. I know she has another trial for is it called a nephew-in-law, her niece's husband? Here's my biggest problem, though. My biggest problem with Lori is the fact that I guess let me talk about appeals a little bit, but I'm not going to get into details. All right. We'll go back to our tagline on this channel. Our tagline is there is a difference, there's a distinction between factual truth and substantive truth. Criminal courts are not concerned with factual truth, okay? As we saw in the ASAP Rocky trial, criminal courts were not concerned with whether he had, I mean, that was a real gun, but they were not concerned with whether that was a real gun or not. They were concerned with, what's his name again? ASAP Rally's demeanor in that case, okay? So that is our mantra on this channel. There's a distinction between factual truth and substantive truth. So as far as Lori Vallow's trial in Idaho, okay, as far as those factual facts are concerned, the facts are she and her fourth husband that she married within 4 or 5 months of the third husband dying, they offed the children. Okay, those are the factual truth. But let's say, for example, if because she's appealing, all right, she's appealing. So let's say there was error in that trial. The prosecutor did something, the judge did something, and the appeals court decides that it's not harmless error, and it's actually an error that goes to Lori's substantive rights. Okay, under those circumstances, the conviction would be overturned and Lori would be retried. Okay, and that is my main issue with her representing herself, is that in the event that um, she does succeed on appeal, she likely would not have preserved any what is this any appellate issues in this trial, because I've just seen her um I don't know what on earth Lori's focused on, but I've seen her fail to preserve appellate issues. I've seen her fail to timely object, and that is problematic. And here's the thing, over and over again, I've said that when it comes to individuals such as Lori Vallow and a Sarah Boone, for example, to me, those are the type of defendants that I'm more drawn to, because in real life, those are the individuals that I most likely would have been representing. I don't really, I don't really, what is this? I'm not so much drawn to the, what is this? The cases with celebrities, the ASAP Rockies, the not 1W Melly, I'm invested, but that's for different reasons. The YSL trial, I mean, I was watching because that trial was long as hell, and I was already invested. I hated watching because there were always motions for what is this? I'm drawing a blank. There were always motions for I'm drawing a blank. My mind is fried, you guys. But there have been moments in that trial where I thought, okay, this whole thing's gonna come to an end, and it just never came to an end, and it was just an ongoing roller coaster. So I was intrigued, but I was also really tired, and I was tired because it was very chaotic. That's the that's probably the worst prosecution I've ever seen. In any event, so these Lori Vallow, the Sarah Boones, those are my folks. Okay, those are my individuals. Usually I'm very neutral, but for this one, I'm with Lori. And the main issue is really the preservation of appellate issues. So that's why I have a problem with Lori representing herself here. And other people, again, Lori herself might think that, okay, there's nothing for me to lose. But from the perspective of a trial attorney, I disagree with that. And that's just because I distinguish between factual truth and substantive truth. Okay, that's enough rambling.
Discussion. You said that we arrived at the Chandler Police Station and that we were taken into the Family Advocacy Center. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, the FAC, or Family Advocacy Center.
Okay. And was that just Tylee and myself that were taken to that part of the station?
I believe so, yes.
And so was Alex taken to the regular part of the police station?
He was in a different portion in an interview room in the persons crime section downstairs.
Okay. So we were taken into 3 different rooms, is that correct? When we arrived?
3 different interview rooms, yes.
And we were all 3 interviewed, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
And you interviewed me, is that correct?
I did.
And you also interviewed Tylee, is that correct?
I did.
And Detective Moffat is the one that interviewed Alex, is that
Okay.
correct?
And this is where I thought that she was trying to show decent cross-examination skills, because it's classic cross-examination. You guys know that I like that. The cross-examiner asks questions, and the response is yes or no, and you move on. You're not engaged in arguments. You're not, grappling with facts or anything else? It's just yes, no, and you move on to the next question.
I believe so.
And these interviews were all video and audio recorded, is that correct?
I believe so.
And did you have a supervisor or superior there at the Chandler Police Station watching these interviews live from a viewing room?
Not a supervisor.
Who was it?
There was a detective in sex crimes that was monitoring the interviews in the Family Advocacy Center. It's kind of standard, particularly the fact that Tylee was alone in the interview room at some point. So she was monitoring both interviews, and I don't know if there was anybody monitoring Detective Moffat's interview because I was not a part of that.
Okay. And what was her name? Detective what?
Ashley Nolan.
And then you said that you had, so you didn't go in and monitor during the interview with Detective Moffat and Alex? You didn't watch that one?
No, it was going on at the same time. I couldn't interview you and Tylee and monitor at the same time.
And then that means that Detective Duncan wasn't monitoring yours either at the same time, correct?
I don't know what Detective Duncan was doing.
I meant Detective Moffat, I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know. I believe he was talking to Alex, but
But he could have been monitoring yours and then talked to Alex after that, is that correct?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Were there other people in this monitoring room that you know of?
I believe Detective Nolan was monitoring from her desk as the sex crimes detectives work within the Family Advocacy Center. They're in the same portion of the building.
Okay. So they can just monitor from their desk?
Correct.
They're not in like a separate room, is what you're saying?
No, there's a monitoring room upstairs in the dedicated suspect interview rooms, but none of those rooms were used
I'm
in
missing the
these
chat.
3 interviews that you're talking about.
Okay.
Allie's so funny. Viva's funny too. Yeah, she is
And after
trying
these
though.
interviews were complete, who decided to send us home?
Well, I decided to drive you guys back to the house.
Viva, how far do you have to walk?
And who gave you authorization to release us, I guess?
Me?
You didn't have to talk to a superior for that?
Okay, so Fever is pretty much saying that his lawyer did her research to get him out, and that's not their job, but some will. Okay, all right, Fever. That is fantastic work. Did you have a public? You don't have to answer, but did you have a public defender? Shout out to all public defenders. All right, let's see. Let me play this. Hold on.
No.
And
was
what
the
about
question?
Alex? Who released us?
Me?
Wait. What?
And who gave you authorization to release us, I guess?
Me?
Oh, this is when we get into some
You didn't-
really good stuff. This is when we get into custodial interrogation, whether she was free to leave or if pretty much she was detained.
Have to talk to a superior for that?
No.
And what about Alex? Who released him?
That would be Detective Moffat was involved with his interview. I was not.
So did you and Detective Moffat have a discussion on what to do next after our interviews were complete?
Briefly, that we were done with the interviews and that at this point, whether or not to get you back to the house and how we were going to facilitate that.
Okay, but it was decided at that time that we would be brought back together and taken in the van to back to the house and dropped off?
It was the easiest way to get the 3 of you back at the same time.
Are you aware?
Man, Warren W. Melly's my guy. Okay. I watched the first trial. I've not really kept up with motions. I've kept up with the headlines. I've not actually watched most of the Warren W. Melly stuff, but we are gonna have to. Usually, if it's somebody I like, I just don't watch the trial. That's how I am because I'm overly invested. Warren W. Melly, I guess I might watch the second trial because I watched the first one. Anything about Dirk, I just cannot do Dirk, you guys. That is my guy. I cannot do it. When XXX Tentacion, when the people that took his life, when they went on trial, I could not watch that. I was really heartbroken about that kid. I was really, really heartbroken about X because I listened to trash music. It's fair. You guys know this about me by now. I listen to trash music. But when X was on the rise, I believe he was on a No Jumper interview. That was my first interaction with him, and that was before he blew up. I watched his interview. Him and Ski Mask, they had really good energy. They made me really excited. I went to go watch his fights from back in the day or whatever, and I really liked him. I liked him as a person, and I liked the revolution of his music. I clearly remember when the news broke that he passed. I remember entering, I was literally entering the office. I was entering the office and I read the headline and I just could not. So, yeah, maybe we'll watch YNW Melly. Maybe.
Of the press release that was issued by Chandler Police Department later that day?
I am not.
You never
Oh,
read
it's not
it?
going to end?
I don't.
Sheesh.
You never heard about it in the course of your investigation?
The press release?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
that YSL trial was, man.
You
it
never
was too
discussed it with
long.
any of the other detectives?
I'm going to object. She's asked and answered.
Sister,
Yeah, Allie, I know that. So we have no choice. We might not even might. We're gonna have to get into Melly because I've watched the first trial.
Dane?
Okay, Brooklyn said a lot of trial updates happened today. What happened, Brooklyn? You know, Brooklyn always has the info. Okay.
Would the case agent have to be the one who would authorize that at the time?
Okay.
It depends. As a case agent, we would like to have input
September, huh?
or influence on what a press release is or states, but occasionally
Yeah. Shout out to all public defenders.
they're published by our PIO, our press information officer.
So do you know if Detective Moffat was the case agent at the time? Is that correct?
He was.
And so do you know if he talked to the PIO and put that out or if he didn't know?
Objection, speculation.
Sustain.
Yeah, Ali, unfortunately, I just don't have enough. I don't have enough time to cover all the cases. And even if I was monetized on YouTube, even if I did this, even if I had the opportunity to do this for a job, I'll still pick my real job any day. It's stressful though. It's a stressful job, but I like being an attorney in real life. So I just unfortunately I just don't have enough time to cover all these trials.
Do you know if the PIO agent just put it out?
Objection, she doesn't know about this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
I have no idea.
Yeah, give the update if you have the update, Brooklyn.
Detective
Please,
England,
if you
yesterday,
can.
the prosecutor asked you several times, why didn't Lori just give the phone back? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you learn in your
Absolutely. Shout out to all public defenders and Max Shard. Okay.
investigation that the entire altercation only lasted a few minutes?
That'd be a fair assessment.
Because we discussed that in our interview, is that correct?
We did.
So from the time Tyler came out with the bat and I ran outside is maybe less than 2 minutes. We discussed that, is that correct?
We discussed that it probably happened in a short amount of time. I don't think we gave a specific time amount to what happened, but that it happened in a relatively short amount of time.
We didn't say that was like 1 to 2 minutes, like,
That was our discussion, yes.
yeah, that was our discussion. Okay. So we
Lori
wouldn't,
actually changes. She changes her shirts. I've not focused so much on the blazer. I'm only focusing on this because jurors actually do focus on what attorneys wear. And if you guys ever end up on the either the public defender subreddit or the lawyer subreddit, it's always people focused on how many suits they're supposed to have during a trial, because jurors actually apparently they focus on stuff like that.
Not have been arguing for a very long time. Is that correct?
I think it's relative as to how long you've been arguing or how long the altercation.
Sheesh. Okay, Brooklyn, this is a lot. This is a lot. Okay, I'm gonna take a screenshot, and and we're gonna have to dive into this. Okay, so as far as Fonnie Willis, it makes sense. If you owe folks money, pay them their money. Okay, that makes sense. As far as Brian Steele signing on to the Diddy case, uh, the I have questions, and the reason why I have questions is because the Diddy case could potentially be a decent criminal defense case if they litigate it outside of the courtrooms. What I mean by that is give Donald Trump a call. I hate to be this person, but that's the play here. That's the play that I see. I don't know. That's interesting though. I'm gonna look into that.
Patient took.
I'm gonna look into that. But the Diddy stuff, I don't really want to touch the Diddy stuff. I really don't want to touch that stuff. But that's typically what people are interested in. So let me think about it. But
Detective, in
Fonnie, we're gonna talk about Fonnie.
the course of your investigation, did you learn that JJ was outside in the car?
I did.
Did you learn that the car was still running?
I don't know.
Yeah, Fever. I mean, give the man a call. Call Donald Trump. Do something. If you're trying to, you're getting paid and it's all federal. Come on, give Donald Trump a call.
Did you learn that JJ was in fact in the front seat?
Okay.
I know that you had articulated
All
he
right.
was put into
All
the
right,
car,
Brooklyn.
but I don't remember if you specifically said the front seat, but he was in the
There's
car.
no question about that. There's no question about that. He's definitely making money, right? And that's, I suppose, why somebody would take on a case like that. But I don't know. Diddy stuff. Nope, 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 nope. I mean, Diddy, if it's Diddy without the money, an individual in that position that's a public defender case, I'm like, give me the damn case. But with I don't even know. Shout out to my people, okay? Shout out to all my people. That m- yeah, my people. You guys know what I mean. I don't want to say who they are, but uh, I don't even know that my folks have capability of throwing a freak off in baby oil and what it's a lot. It's a lot.
Did you learn in the course of your investigation that JJ had autism?
Yes, you told me about that.
Did you verify that at his school?
Okay, Lori. I just really do not like how she's using her children as props. I just again, that is sticking with me. It's disturbing.
I did speak with his school, yes.
When did you speak with the school?
During the course of the investigation, I had contact with the.
All right. Thanks, Allie. Where do you guys get this information from? Don't tell me social media, because the only thing I have, again, I've said this before, I have YouTube and Reddit.
School in reference to when he attended and Generally, kind of the services the school provides.
Do you remember who you spoke to at the school at all?
The director of the school, and then subsequently, there were a couple teachers that provided some information.
And how long after July 11th was that first communication with the school?
It was just several months later.
But during the course of this investigation, the Chandler Police Department did verify, I guess, that next day that that was in fact his school and he did attend there. Is that correct?
I believe so.
During this investigation, did you verify that we did in fact go through Burger King?
Here
I
we
did
go.
not, but it was verified.
Were you aware of what we ordered at Burger King?
This is your part, Brooklyn. This is your part, Brooklyn.
You told me it was chicken fries and Sprite.
Had you seen, you hadn't seen that receipt?
I had not.
Okay. I guess that was in fact in the portion of one of the interviews that we watched yesterday. Is that correct?
Correct. You told me that in the interview.
So were you aware that we also ordered 2 bottles of water?
I was not aware, no.
Lori, Lori. What on earth?
And in your experience with people in stressful situations, when adrenaline kicks in, does it make you incredibly thirsty?
Lori. Lori, this question or this testimony is better reserved for, I don't know, a psychologist. I don't know if you're bringing up, is she going to have like a psychologist, somebody that's going to talk about battered women's syndrome or something along those lines? That is more appropriate for that person, not this witness.
I don't object to speculation or knowledge.
If she knows, she can answer.
It can.
And when you're in fight or flight mode, does your adrenaline kick in your experience?
I'm going to object here to knowledge and foundation as to her knowledge of this.
I'll sustain the objection.
Did you offer Tylee and I apple juice at the Chandler Police Station?
Apple juice?
I think I offered you something to drink and what we typically would have there.
Did you offer that for the purpose that adrenaline makes you thirsty?
No, I usually do it to people I interview if they'd like something to drink while they're there.
Detective Inkland, have you ever seen me not calm?
I'm going to object to maybe foundation as to when.
All right, sustain, lay more foundation on when she has,
I mean, throughout this trial, Lori was mostly calm. I think even when she was cross-examining Nancy Joe, I mean, the emotion stage was something else, but she's been pretty composed.
what occasions she has had to observe you.
Well, yesterday you spoke often of my calm demeanor. my non-
Viva said Lori's just running her mouth. So that's crazy. And Brooklyn says it's crazy. You know what I ordered at Burger King? Yeah. Okay, Benji says, I remember this. I have no idea what she was trying to get at. I have no idea what she was trying to get at either. But at least we know what she likes to order, okay? The apple juice, or at least she was offered apple juice. She ordered some bottled water. Okay. So, Allie, I've not really kept up with Dirk. The only thing that I've really focused on are headlines. I've not seen any headlines lately, but it's federal court, man. It's federal court. So we'll see. Brooklyn says, I want to see the shark, the shark vest under her jacket. And who has the remote for that? Actually, that answers my question from yesterday. Because yesterday she was wearing, I believe it was like a white or off-white blouse, and it was not tucked in. Even this blouse that she has on right now, she did not tuck it in. So I suppose it makes sense. Maybe this is all this bulging here. It makes sense because I figured that had she tucked her stuff in, it would look neater. But okay, so it's the shark vest. Got it.
Nonchalantness, is that correct?
Correct.
Lori's not gonna do anything crazy in this court. Maybe I don't know. It's Lori. It is Lori, but I do not see her. I just don't see it. I don't see her risking it.
So has there ever been an occasion when you have seen me when I was not calm?
Again, foundation as to
Lori
when
said she's always
she has
calm.
seen her on July 11th.
Please clarify the time frame you're referring to where she had an.
Okay, with these questions, I suppose they go to demeanor, and she's pretty much trying to relate to the jury that it was not unusual. While this officer or detective is saying that Lori did not act as if she had just lost a husband, she's pretty much trying to tell these folks that she's calm all the time. Okay, that's what she's getting at. As far as the um, Burger King fries, the bottled water, and I forgot the other thing that she bought.
An opportunity.
That
to
I have no
observe.
idea what she's getting at.
Any other time, Your Honor?
For example,
And that's what I've said about her inability to cross-examine. She has to do a piecemeal. So she has to talk about, I suppose, when this officer arrived on the scene, or when they were interviewed, and I don't know, when they met each other in the mall, and however many interviews they had. But she has to, who's this? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting emails, getting distracted. But she has to go question by question and not compound all those instances.
how many hours on July?
Can we have a sidebar? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, Lori's voice is so sweet. She has such a sweet voice. All right, let's fast forward. What on earth is this? Okay, hold on. Let's speed things up. She's a little fidgety. Okay.
Detective Inkland, did you discover in your investigation that I had run outside without shoes?
What on earth, Lori?
Yes, kind of.
And did you learn in that investigation that we had stopped at Walgreens and I did purchase 2 pairs of flip-flops?
Yeah, you told me that.
All right.
I mean, and that was verified later?
It was by a different detective.
Okay. You
Yeah,
didn't verify that at
Walgreens.
Walgreens or at Burger King, is that correct?
I did not. That was a different
Burger
detective.
King.
Okay.
They sell flip flops at Burger King. I know.
And as part of your investigation, did you view the video of me going into the Walgreens to purchase the flip-flops?
I did not.
Okay. And how hot was it that day on July 11th,
How hot was it?
2019?
Warm.
Under these circumstances, what Lori should have done, basically asked the court and the jurors to take judicial notice of whatever the temperature was, okay? Because, again, go to the weather forecast, pull it up, and get that in there. Because, I mean, it's Arizona. So if it's like 80, I don't know, is it 80 degrees in the morning? I have no idea. But if it's frying hot in the morning, then I guess Lori can get to a point. But
Like in the hundreds?
that would have been a better way of doing it as opposed to just asking this detective.
July in Arizona. I'd say it was probably warm.
Would it have been difficult to walk JJ to his class on the cement with no shoes on, do you think?
Objection, relevance, speculation.
Sustained. I think the jury can draw their own conclusions about the temperature in Arizona in mid-July.
Okay.
Detective, did you learn in your investigation that after taking JJ to his classroom that Tylee and I headed straight back to the house?
I believe so.
And that we met with police? Is that correct?
Correct. You
As soon as we
contacted
drove up, first contact was with,
Officer Krautheim.
yes, Krautheim.
Look at
Okay,
Lori.
thank you.
I'm sorry. Lori's out there cracking up a little bit. She said, what?
Correct. You
As soon as we
contacted
drove up, first contact was with,
Officer Krautheim.
yes, Krautheim.
She's giggled. She has giggled every once in a while. She has Riz, okay? Lori has a little charisma.
Okay, thank you.
I know she's a little awkward over here.
Detective, is it your understanding that we fully
Oh.
cooperated with the police?
These were good questions. And it was at this moment that she found out. I don't know what SpongeBob says. But in any event, during this line of questioning, I was like, get it, Lori. And this is exactly why this would have made a decent defense case. But let's get into it.
You were cooperative with interviews with me.
Okay.
That we did as we were instructed?
With me in your interview, you were cooperative.
And Tylee was cooperative with you as well, correct?
I believe
I
so.
wonder what those kids said.
And that you had said yesterday that we were voluntarily interviewed by the police, is that correct?
Correct. You were not in custody.
Did we know that?
These were good.
I believe so.
When we were placed in those interview rooms, did we know that we could just walk out and leave anytime?
You-
Was that explained to us, is my question.
You can ask that.
Mhm.
Can you say it
What
again?
did the prosecutor say?
You can ask that.
You-
Was that explained to us, is my question.
What did
You can
he
ask
say?
that.
Can you say it again?
Was it explained to us at any time that we could just walk out of those interview rooms and leave if we had wanted to?
No.
This was good.
Did I in fact ask you at one point if I could go to the ladies' room?
I believe so.
Lori.
Detective, did we answer all the questions asked to us by the police that day?
By me, yes, I believe so.
This was good. These were the questions we needed, not your
And we
Burger
were dropped
King
off at home by
fries,
the police, is that correct?
receipts.
Correct. I drove you back to the house.
And we were given no further instructions, is that correct?
Viva,
Just-
Viva is something else. Viva said, that's that paranormal devil voice. Sweet but deadly. Brooklyn says, imagine Judge Glanville being the judge on this case. Yeah. Yeah, it would not go over. Even Bev Canoni would not have time for this. She will be huffing and puffing every second every second she can. Okay. Fiba said he would be scared of Lori if she, if she looked at him and laughed. Yeah. All right. No, this was not the Miranda question. This question was more so to whether they were free to leave the interrogation room or not. And I thought that was really good. That was well done.
Just that we would be in touch with you at the conclusion of the search warrant.
All right.
Is it also correct that we voluntarily handed over Charles' phone to you when you asked for it?
Yes.
Mhm.
Did we delay in that or just
Cooperation.
do it immediately?
No, you gave it to me when I asked.
Yeah, these were good questions.
Was there any time, Detective, on July 11th, 2019, that we did not comply or cooperate?
So pretty much this is a consistent theme, okay? Let me see. We've seen this. I've talked about this in one other case. I just don't remember. But pretty much what Lori is trying to show here is that she had nothing to hide. But this is a consistent theme. I'm just trying to go back to the trials that we've watched together. We've seen this in one other trial. I just don't remember. I just don't remember which defendant.
Fully with the police in their investigation?
In my interaction with you, you were cooperative.
Thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor.
That was a good way. And here's the thing about Lori. Lori knows how to cap off her cross-examination. She ends on a high note, which is great. But what I would have liked to see, because I think I watched part of this we're not going to go over a redirect, but because we're going to move on to the second witness, because Ali says the cross of that second witness was chaotic, which is what I like to see. But Lori does know how to end on a good note. We've seen her do this with her brother. We've seen her do this with, what was the other witness name? Serena somebody. I think it was Serena Sharp. Yeah, but she knows when to end. And very good, very good. Well done. All right, we're gonna skip redirect. I just wish that she had recrossed because there were issues with this. There was information elicited, and she needs to start objecting because the prosecutor, again, I was not taking notes because I was actually working, but the prosecutor on redirect kept asking questions that Lori did not get into or go into during cross, and that's not excuse me, that is not the purpose of redirect. Anyways, let's find the next timestamp. What's his name? Oh dang, he looks like he has good pension. All right.
There'll be a PowerPoint that he's going to do.
All right, sir, come on up. You're gonna
What's his
stand
name?
right here and be sworn in.
Can you spell your
Ariel, A-R-I-E-L, Werther, W-E-R-T-H-E-R.
I just want to hear his name and role.
Will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you
Position.
God.
I do.
All right, have a seat up here to my left.
All right. Who is you and what do you do? Mm. All right, can we get to it, please? What's your name? I don't know what they're doing.
I could be able to get into Wi-Fi.
Benito. Let's see. What are
Honor,
they
just so I can
doing?
get this set up and hooked
All right,
to.
why don't we have the jury go to the jury room
They have
for
technical
a
issues.
short break?
They have
Please
technical difficulties. All right.
Until 2011.
Okay, what's your name?
Department. Further.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hello, my name is Ariel Werther, and I work for the Chandler Police Department as a detective.
All right. So that's a detective.
How long have you worked for the Chandler?
All right, let's move to cross. That's all I needed. Oh, Did we miss Cross? I don't know. Something's going on. All right. Dang, they only had 2 witnesses all day. Let's see. Dang, where's Lori? Hold on. Let's quickly get in here. I want to see what this is about.
And what it covers by test,
You all know I'm nosy,
but
so.
it's not more precise than that. It's a much power
Okay, what's the
large.
question?
It has
A
location
lot of talking.
precisely. Pre-
Like Verizon and T-Mobile.
Okay.
Then this cell tower data that you're receiving from the providers like Verizon and T-Mobile.
Yeah, so there's there's a distinction between precision and
tower is always
accuracy, right? So
accurate.
precision is how precisely the thing is defined. So what area? So when the GPS location data says this exact latitude and longitude to some number of decimal places was logged at this time, that's very precise. That doesn't mean it has to be very accurate, but it does mean it's quite precise. What you will see when these devices are connecting to cell towers is you're going to see relatively large areas where the device is inferred to have been. It likely was in that area. This is different because the device didn't record this location. The provider recorded that on this date, at this time, this mobile device connected to this tower on this face,
Okay.
and we know or are able to determine the approximate coverage areas of those towers. But it's not more precise than that. It's a much more general area. This is another representation of that shape. So this shape is derived by people in the industry by testing the way that these antennas work in what's called an anechoic chamber, which is a fancy word for a room that's designed to reduce
Fancy.
the interference with the propagation of radio waves. So if this represents what a coverage area might look like under lab conditions, one thing to keep in mind is that the real world basically never mirrors lab conditions. This is an estimated area where you would expect
This
an
sounds so
antenna to
formal.
likely have coverage. And that's what it's represented for.
What's up,
And
Jason?
then if you click forward, it just shows the direction the antenna face was pointing. If you are
What's
looking at
up,
one of these shapes
Jason?
on the map, then that center line is what's known as the azimuth, which is essentially
Who needs Wi-Fi? Me? I need to click. I'm gonna need 2 screens eventually. All right. Let's see. Okay, so Brooklyn apparently he would not. Brooklyn would not take on Diddy as a client. Why not though? I
Just-
mean, I said this earlier in the live. If he was indigent and I was a public defender, sure, I'll take whatever they give me. But as a private attorney, nope.
the angle at which that face of the tower was recorded to have been facing.
So you're not able to tell us within this area,
No, that's all they're
Where-
talking about.
It's
That looks
somewhere
like a
use
brain.
others doing this.
in
All right, let's get to Cross.
This is an example of what the mapping will.
Okay, so these are just maps. I
timeframe
thought
that
this was
you-
Burger King. I don't know why. I thought they were going to talk about Burger King, or maybe they are talking about Burger King. Hold on. I think they're going to be talking about Burger King.
In each of these cases. So yes, one would
Nexus,
notice that the
Nexus.
cell tower being serviced for Ms. Vallow's device is a bit farther to the north in this case.
Okay.
And then you said that there is a call from Alex Cox's cell phone to Lori Vallow's cell phone.
Uh-oh.
That's correct.
Uh-oh. No bueno.
So we've added on the map the location of the Burger King at 2865 East Ocotillo Road, and you can see the red dots again representing the GPS locations from Charles Vallow's phone, arriving at around that time. So we're looking from 7:53 to 7:56, and the device is at or near where that Burger King is located.
And so when you went to Burger King,
Were they ordering? Was he ordering?
let me ask this, the prior map that we saw,
Want something for Burger
did
King?
that cell tower cover the area of where this Burger King
And
was.
this is the real problem. Like, I don't know, they did not. Again, they enjoy the presumption of innocence, but if they did in fact conspire to take out Charles, they did not think things through with the phones, and I don't know, they did not. Mm-mm.
Or is.
It may have. The thing is, all these locations are estimates, so it's in the area. It likely covered it, yes.
Benji
then-
wants to go to Burger King and get what was it? Fries? No, chicken fries and 2 water bottles. There's something else. I forgot the 4th item.
Utilize that video that we talked about to confirm that Charles Vallow's phone showing in this area appeared to match the SUV as well as Miss Vallow being there.
Empty,
Yes, it appears
but-
to match this visit to the Burger King, which we are now seeing. This is the video that I recovered from the Burger King.
All right, so this was a video that, so you could identify the vehicle and at least see the license plate on that.
Correct.
And as you watched it, this one doesn't depict the, or you can't see the driver on this video, right?
Right, there's another view coming up.
So this one just shows us hands going in and out.
It does. It shows the view showing the vehicle. This is one of the views that they have of their drive-through.
Okay.
So if we forward to the next slide,
Yes,
we will see from the inside the service of.
correct.
All right.
So
Let me
this is their
see.
drive-through window view. Again, at 7:54.
Not my girl, Lori. Oh, apple juice. No, apple juice was at the police station or headquarters or wherever it is that they interviewed her. I don't know what time Burger King. No, but yesterday, didn't she not testify? I mean, she is kind of testifying. But during cross-examination, she cross-examined the detective about what the son enjoys getting from Burger King, and I suppose that was his breakfast. They probably, I don't know, they serve, because I was actually thinking about that. Do they serve breakfast at Burger King? I have no idea. I don't even know the last time that I went to Burger King, but I have no idea. My kid enjoys McDonald's. That's her thing. And Taco Bell sometimes. Okay, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. Let's move on to cross. All right. All right, come on, Lori.
Detective Werther, you had submitted a report
That
on
voice is so sweet.
12/26,
That is a sweet voice.
2019, is that correct?
That sounds correct.
And have you had a chance to review that at all before your testimony?
Yes.
Not Burger King at 8. Mm-mm.
So you found some interestingly contrasting things
Lori, can you just ask the question? Just ask the question. Oh,
in your report that you reported on that date.
and this better be interesting too.
You made a note of his daily text message of love and devotion to me. Do you remember that?
I do not.
Okay. Then you also made a note of his interactions with women he was attempting to date. Is that correct?
I do remember that.
Okay. Detective Werther, in your report on page 103, you indicate that Charles went to the airport to meet Florence Hughes and found that she
Check to
never boarded.
relevance.
Is that correct?
Hold on.
Check to relevance.
What's the question?
And page 103, you indicate that Charles. Detective Werther, in your report on page 103, you indicate that Charles went to the airport to
Look at that girl. She's referencing to page numbers and everything.
meet Florence Hughes and found that
Check
she
to
never boarded.
relevance.
Is that correct?
Hold on.
Object to relevance.
What's the relevance of that?
It's just in his report, Your Honor, and I was just going over it
Lori, that's not how it works.
to see if
Well, everything in a police report isn't necessarily relevant. Well, how's it relevant to this case?
it's relevant to show
Yeah, that's what I figured. Let's see
what was
response-
going on in this, right before this happened. These
All right.
events happened within June and July.
All right, it's the objection sustained.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Those were my suspicions as far as Lori's cross-examination. Okay. She is under the opinion that she has to ask each and every question in order to track the day. Pretty much going back to Ellie's comment where she's saying that it's as if she's reliving the moments. But that's not cross-examination. In order to effectively cross-examine, she has to ask questions that directly relate to her defense, or questions that challenge the witness, or questions that go to credibility. But she's pretty much just she wants all the details, and that's why for her, in her mind, it's important for her. It's important that the previous detective mentions the 2 water bottles. To her, those are important facts because she pretty much wants to bog down all the facts or all the circumstances, which is not how you cross-examine. But she's doing something.
Did you learn who Florence Hughes was?
And I'm going to object again to relevance.
Sustained.
In your report, Detective, you find evidence that Charles did in fact send someone $1,000.
Who?
And I would object to relevance.
Who?
Sustained.
And I would object to relevance to all of these types of questions.
Who did he send $1,000 to? I know it's not relevant, but what is this? Curious.
When you had, what was your role in going through the data from the phone, from my husband's phone?
So
husband.
primarily, I went through the location data because of the concerns we had about timeline. I know I went through other data associated with other accounts, but I don't believe I specifically went through the phone extraction outside of the location data.
Okay. But in your report, you made a lot of notes to these things, but that wasn't what you were looking for? You just happened upon it? How did that happen?
So there are things found, I think many of those may be related to a Google account. And yes, as certain things were being accomplished as a team, sometimes you'll task out and say, would you look through this to see what you find that may be relevant? And it isn't always clear up front in an investigation what's going to be relevant. So when I see communications between people without knowing the full story, particularly when I'm not the primary case agent, I may note things because I want to make sure the case agent knows of them so he or she can decide if that's a thing that needs to be pursued
Yeah,
further.
he's
And
long-winded.
if they think it is, then they can ask me or someone else, or they can do it themselves. But that would be why some of those things are documented.
Okay. And you wrote them in your report because you thought they might be relevant?
Yes, not knowing the full case, I noted things like that that may be relevant.
And that would need to go to the case agent so he could decide if those were relevant or not as well?
Correct. The case agent has much fuller information, particularly as a long-term investigation goes on.
He does a
As
lot of
somebody who's
talking.
just helping out with certain tasks, it's not always obvious to you what things are going to be relevant to the person who knows the entirety of the case.
So you mentioned in your report that on July 10th, there was a scheduled phone date with Nancy Jo Hancock. Is that correct?
Oh, Nancy.
I think I
Jo.
did indicate that in my report, yes.
Okay.
Nancy Joe.
And then on the next day, there was another date scheduled with a Jennifer Gilbert at 12 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
That sounds correct.
Is that another date?
And then the next day, there was another date scheduled with a Juliet at 10 a.m.
Relevance and obviously
Right.
trying to smear the victim.
All right, the objection sustained.
So he was going on dates, huh?
Detective, did you find searches for these dates
Can I
for my
check?
husband back
Hold
to?
on.
If we can do a
Hold on.
sidebar.
Sustained.
Dang, a judge is getting
This is a
frustrated
different
with
question,
No,
Your Honor.
whether he went on dates or had dates scheduled is not relevant to this
Jeez.
case. Ask another question. You can ask about the date of the person that testified the night before because that person was in here and had some
Okay,
relevant.
so did Lori not run her cross-examination questions by her standby counsel? I mean, she has a lot of, she needs to stop going out there with so much paper, by the way. But I don't know.
information. But other than that, any of these other questions are not relevant.
Detective, you talked about going with Detective Moffett to the hotel room where you found my husband's laptop. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. And then was also his iPad in there?
I believe so.
And then you said some suitcases,
Correct.
maybe his briefcase was like a rolling suitcase?
It may have been, we may be describing the same thing differently. I didn't personally inventory the items. I helped to package them and take them back to the station.
Okay. So when you got there, does that stuff go in evidence bags? I mean, how does that work when you got to the hotel room? Can you walk us through that?
Sure, there are different ways that one can do it.
Question.
Pardon me. If the crime had occurred at the hotel room, it might be done in a different way. In this case, just clearing out someone's hotel room instead of unpacking everything there and searching through all of it in the hotel room and then repacking it all there, sometimes it's much more appropriate to take the items as they are, seal them up, take them back to the station and impound them where they can be dealt with later as needed. So that's what we did in this case.
And then so with the electronic devices, were they off already or were they on? How did that work out?
I didn't check the condition of them, but I also didn't alter the condition of them.
Okay.
So nobody got on there and opened it up or anything to see if it was powered on or not?
I did not do that.
Okay. And it was just you and Detective Moffett in there, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. So after you collect all those things and then you take them with you to
All
go
right,
to
where's
evidence,
the
is that
fire?
correct?
Yes, that's right.
And so how long about do you think that you were there at that hotel room?
Where's the
I
fire?
no longer recall exactly how long we were there.
And then is someone documenting that? Like as you're putting together things, someone's writing down what that is? What you're taking?
Oh, writing down what the items are. Yes, so we do document what the items are that we're taking, typically by at the station entering that into our report management system where they're assigned numbers like the one that you saw for the cell phone earlier. And then an evidence continuity begins when they're submitted to the property and evidence unit.
And then was there anything left in there that wasn't taken? I mean, just kind of clear out all of his things.
Anything left in the room?
Correct.
I do not believe we left anything in the room.
Okay. So then all of the things were taken into custody and that was the end of your association with them?
That's right.
Lori,
But you were instrumental in delivering them, is that correct?
Yes, I assisted in packaging and delivering them, yes.
okay,
And
we
that
only
was
have
just you
13
and
minutes,
Detective
so we can
Moffett?
get through
Yes,
it.
that's right.
In the course of your investigation, Detective, did you become aware of the $2 million life insurance policy
Yes,
Charles
he
had
was.
on me?
I'm not aware of that.
In the course of your investigation with my husband's phone, did you come across the threatening text messages from him to me?
I don't believe I saw text message content from his phone.
Okay.
From the phone, I restricted what I was looking at to the location data I'd been given. So I'm not aware of contents of the phone.
Okay.
Lori, you better have these text messages because you've brought these up enough times. So you better have text messages.
And then Detective, what was your role back at the house at Four Peaks Place? Approximately what time did you arrive and then leave the scene?
I arrived, it's indicated in
Brooklyn,
my report, and I wouldn't want to have it.
why do you Why are you under the impression that she was desperate for money?
To guess because I don't recall, but I remained at the scene essentially, as mentioned, to shadow and observe the way these investigations are conducted. I know I was still there when the medical examiner arrived. I know I was still there when Mr. Cox came back, but exactly what time I left, I do not know.
Okay. And you mentioned you were shadowing Detective Kuntz, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you stay with him the whole time?
Yes.
And so you just kind of helped him doing what he was doing?
Yes, and I'm not confident how much I was there helping as much as observing. I didn't actually perform any particular tasks while I was there because, again, I was not on the team yet.
Yeah. So you were observing mostly?
Mostly.
And then did you take notes while you were observing or just
I did not.
physical with
What
the
are you getting
eyes?
at, Lord?
I was just there to observe, yeah.
Okay. You had mentioned that you had called me on July 12th, is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
And that I had told you that I had when you asked me about information about JJ's school, I gave that to you, correct?
Correct.
And then I told you that I had the hotel key, is that correct?
Correct.
And you indicated that you'd send someone over to pick it up.
Well, yes,
Correct.
I said I would check with the case agent, and that's probably what would happen.
And then, so did you contact Detective Moffett and discuss that with him?
I did.
And then he sent you
Okay,
over to the
so
house?
Brooklyn says that he keeps hearing about the policies a lot, and it seems that that was the motive. I think the reason why she keeps bringing up the $2 million policy is to counter the prosecution's motive. They're saying that Lori took the husband out for $1 million, and Lori is saying there's no way I could have done this because he had $2 million, or he had a $2 million policy, or he took one out on my life. So I think that's why she keeps bringing it up.
House to get it?
Well, we agreed to go together. Oh, to the house, I'm sorry.
Oh, to come pick up the card key?
Yes, I think we agreed that I would go do that, yes.
Okay, what about time was that? Was that on the 12th?
It was on the 12th. It's in my report. I think it was the 2 o'clock hour.
Okay.
All right, come on, Lori. I need to go to bed.
And then you weren't with Detective Moffett at that time?
I was not.
And then
I need to go to
when did
bed,
you guys
Lori.
actually go to the hotel to pick up that stuff?
We went right after that.
Oh, it was immediate?
Yes.
How long, Detective, did you analyze all this data before you did your report?
Well, that could be a complicated question because initially I only looked at the location data I had been provided. And initially we were only dealing with the location data from Mr. Vallow's phone. And then I wasn't heavily involved in the investigation after that point. As I recall, I was actually out of town some, and so I wasn't heavily involved. And then if you advance to some years later when I had learned more how to interpret cell phone records, and those cell phone records still existed, I was asked to look at them and to incorporate them into an overall analysis. So that now we're talking about something that occurred several years later. And the exact amount of time I spent doing that, I don't know exactly how long that would have been. I still did restrict my analysis to just that one calendar day.
In the first place, and then you got more data later?
I know that there's more data, but I have not gone through and done a thorough analysis
He
of
was
all
funny.
of the data that has been assembled over the course of whatever
Shout out to the
time frame
Bronx.
has been determined to be relevant in this case. I was asked to look at the day of the event.
Okay. But you had other data in this report that was dated 12/26, is that correct?
Yeah, that seems right.
How long before that 12/26 report did you spend compiling data? That's kind of my question, like weeks or months or just a few days?
I'm not sure I fully understand that question. So when you,
I don't either.
if this is what you're asking, when you write, for example, a search warrant to an internet service provider, let's say for somebody's Google or for something similar to that, once you send that, you just have to wait. And at some point they give it back to you. And then once they give it back to you, you go through it and you see what's contained in that. You save it to the side as evidence, and then you create a copy so you can go through that. And that's what I did. The amount of time I spent doing that, that's not something that we log.
Okay.
What do you mean, okay? What was your point? What was your point? All right,
So
are you
your
done?
report goes from, I guess, Bates page 88 to 105, so about 8 pages worth of data, yeah? Say?
I'm not sure. Is that a question?
Yeah. She's like, yeah. She's something else.
Or maybe it was even longer.
Is she talking to herself?
Did you go to Lauren's Life Academy at any point?
I did not.
So that must have been a really chaotic day.
And were you able to identify JJ in the front seat of the car at the Burger King?
I wouldn't say that I can definitely identify him.
But you indicate possible juvenile with short dark hair in front passenger seat. Is that correct?
That's what I was able to see on the video.
Okay.
Lord, why do you have a minor sitting in the front seat?
That's all we have, Your Honor.
Okay, that's it.
All right, redirect.
You did not do anything, Lori. Like, you did not do anything with that cross. Nothing at all.
When you went to the True Hilton Hotel and picked up all of Charles Vallow's personal property, did you ever review anything from his laptop? Were you provided with extractions from his laptop that you reviewed?
I think I was at one point provided that, yes.
Did you use any of that data from the laptop in creating your PowerPoint?
No,
Did you review anything, any extractions from his iPad?
I don't believe I reviewed the iPad.
So obviously, did you use that in your PowerPoint?
No.
I'm gonna move on from this. She's not saying anything. And here's the other thing with Lori, though, is I was watching earlier at work. Lori just allowed during direct, she gave the prosecutor free reign to ask leading questions. And I'm like, object. No, she was, I don't know what Lori was doing. In any event, folks, it has been swirl, okay? It's been fantastic. It's been great. The chat was phenomenal, as always. Shout out to Fever, Benji, Brooklyn, Ellie. Shout out to the replay crew. I am going to call it a night. I was actually really tired. Shout out to Sarah. I was really tired when I came up here. I'm going to call it a night. I'm saying that I'm probably going to be up for another 2 hours, but I do have to. I'm going to have to get going. We will reconvene tomorrow. Tomorrow's what? Wednesday? Yep. We will reconvene tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then I'm going to have to renege, okay? Friday, I cannot be live on Friday because I need to get stuff sorted. My man will be here, so I need to get things organized, and I just need to get it together. I need to mop my floors and shine my floors and do everything and anything that I need to get done. Okay. All right. Good night, Fever. Good night, you guys. Good night, Benji, Allie, Brooklyn. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. We will see what Lori, Vallow, Daybell has. That is true, Allie. I actually do need to iron. I definitely need to iron. So, yeah, I need to iron and then clear my kitchen and eventually call it a night. All right. Good night, folks.